Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, September 21st. Today we will still have some breezy winds and drier conditions over parts of northwest Utah and into small parts of Nevada and Idaho. Otherwise, showers and thunderstorms already ongoing this morning will be confined mainly to Utah. Otherwise, drier and warmer conditions will materialize later this weekend and through much of next week. Precipitation over the last 24 hours, we did have some scattered showers and thunderstorms over southern Nevada into parts of the Arizona Strip and southern Utah. And yesterday, very light initial attack with 7 new fires for just under 1 acre and 97 acres of growth on our large fires. Over the last 7 days, we have had precipitation with cold fronts move through the western and northern side of the Great Basin. And you can see many areas in Nevada, western and northern Nevada up into Idaho and Wyoming saw above normal precipitation for the time of year. However, still very dry conditions up until yesterday and today occurred over southern areas of the Great Basin, but we do have some moisture moving through those areas. ERC percentiles are generally low across much of the northern and western half of the Great Basin due to this recent moisture. And we have had some higher ERCs over parts of the Arizona Strip and Utah, but again, with that moisture moving through yesterday and today, we should see some decreases there as well. Otherwise, to look at some of our charts up north, and this is pretty representative over the northern and western side of the Great Basin with that significant decrease in ERCs with the recent moisture. However, with warmer and drier conditions the next 5 to 7 days, we will see those ERCs continue to climb and may reach normal in some areas. Otherwise, over parts of Utah that have been on the drier side, ERCs will generally level off the next few days and remain just above normal. The satellite image from this morning shows that area of low pressure tracking east across southern areas of the Great Basin with that cloudiness and showers and thunderstorms this morning. Otherwise, drier conditions with sunny skies are expected over the rest of the Great Basin. You can see this low moves over the Four Corners area later today, keeping that moisture tied to Utah. Otherwise, significant fire potential remains low in all areas of the Great Basin. Relative humidity will be driest in Nevada, but still only drop into the mid-teens. And you can see where those somewhat lowered RHs match up with the gusty north winds on the backside of this low across parts of western Utah. So again, not super significant, but RHs will be in the 15 to 20% range with some wind gusts around 30 miles per hour. Otherwise, could see some breezes up in Idaho at times, but RH will stay above 25%. Temperatures will remain near seasonal averages for the time of year with highs in the mid to upper 70s or low 80s in the valleys and in the low 90s in the far south. You can see our probability of precipitation today is just across Utah and the Arizona Strip. As we move into Sunday, this low exits the area and we see a ridge of high pressure building off the west coast for drier conditions and gradually warming temperatures. You will see some modifications to our significant fire potential map over the next several days with more yellow popping up, but that's still relatively low fire risk for all areas. Relative humidity drops in Nevada, but mostly around the mid-teens, but much lighter winds on Sunday. Temperatures remain about the same on Sunday with, again, all the precipitation moving off to the east. And then as we move into Monday, the ridge really starts to build, so temperatures will be warming, a little bit more yellow on the map for our significant fire potential risk. But again, the green and yellow is really a little or low risk of any significant fire. Relative humidity drops into the single digits or low teens over southern areas of the Great Basin and remains between about 15 and 25% in most other areas. Winds, generally just some downslope winds or northwest winds up in Idaho on Monday as that ridge builds to our west and we do get that northwest wind flow on the east side of the ridge. But otherwise, wind gusts mainly in the teens to low 20s. Temperatures will be on the rise. We'll see a couple of degrees of warming going into early next week with continued dry weather. And then the 3-day precipitation, you can see obviously any of those showers and thunderstorms producing light amounts of precipitation today in Utah and the Arizona Strip. Going into next week, the ridge just continues to build for warmer and drier conditions. As we move towards the Monday through Wednesday period, we could see temperatures increase to just above normal. However, we do have another trough of low pressure approaching the northwest coast on Wednesday, so that will start to knock those temperatures back down to either normal or even slightly below normal. But significant fire potential, still lots of yellow on the map, so either little or low risk for the Great Basin. And then this system swings to our north, so a little bit of wind expected going into early next week, potentially for the Sierra Front and parts of Idaho. as we see this continued drier weather. And then on Friday, a generally westerly flow up north, but still lighter winds down south with continued dry conditions and no high risk through the 7-day period. 7-day total precipitation really isn't any different than the 3-day, as any precipitation will only fall today. We do have a brewing tropical system in the eastern Gulf, so we could see some increased precipitation for parts of Florida going into later next week. Otherwise, the 8 to 14-day outlook showing warm and dry conditions. This takes us into early October. Right now, looking at the models, it looks like going towards the 1st of October, we could see some moisture start to return to parts of the Great Basin going into that first week in October, but we will continue to monitor that. Otherwise, dry conditions the next week. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.